Wow.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is the best-selling PlayStation 2 game of all time. At nearly 17.4 million units sold worldwide, it's safe to say the game was pretty damn good. But I'm not sold on that. So today we're going to see if this game is as good as I remember it was, or if I was just a dumbass kid.
Give up the money. This a raid.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
Yeah, homie. Shit, yeah, it's good to see you back.
I decided to get breast implants.
Carl Johnson, my man.
Whoa, man, the energy here, it's fantastic.
When GTA San Andreas came out, I was in 3rd grade. When I first played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I was in 6th grade. Yeah, for some reason my parents didn't want me playing a game about murdering cops when I was 8 years old. Probably a good call. The closest thing I had to Grand Theft Auto was Simpsons Hit and Run, which is a fun game, but it's just not the same. Sure, I had shooting game this and driving game that, but I didn't have shooting driving game. What I really wanted was a real-world crime simulator, as do all kids, right? So eventually, I was able to convince my mom to buy me the game after months of relentless begging. And needless to say, I played the shit out of it. I beat the whole damn game like 3 times before I was even a teenager. However, I didn't beat it without cheats until I was in like college. We're not here to talk about that. I'm not quite sure how many hours of my life I've poured into this criminal sandbox, but it's probably more than I'd care to admit. So naturally, I'm very excited to revisit this old game. However, that does not mean that this game is perfect, and there were a few things that I had a problem with playing the game again. But we'll save that for later. For now, I want to start off with the good, and yeah, there's a lot of good to talk about. So let's put on our nostalgia pants and analyze this shit. The first thing I want to talk about still amazes me in 2021, and that's all the shit that this game lets you do. I'm not talking about the missions, I'm talking about all the activities, side missions, and mini-games packed into this game. Like, I can't be the only one that thinks it's f***ing crazy that GTA San Andreas has more mini-games than Mario Party. That's nuts. It's wild. But seriously, I don't really have time to go over all these. There's casino games, exporting stolen cars, basketball, vigilante missions, goddamn quarry missions, gang wars, billiards, dating, fighting, dancing, car dancing, horse racing, truck missions, I guess. Hell, even getting fat is kind of a side activity. And that's just a few examples of what you can do. This is madness. I'm not really sure if any open world game has delivered more activities than this game has. And I remember the game taking forever to beat because every little bullshit minigame caught my dumb little ADD brain as a child. And saving lives using an ambulance helped me clear my conscience after a big old murder spree, as one does. Now, they weren't all great, but I still tried them anyways, because a lot of them were genuinely fun. And on top of all these things to do, I want to bring up all the RPG elements this game has. From having different skills to controlling your character's body weight through their habits, it really was some next level RPG shit. The XP and leveling your character gave you something to work for. The more you breathe, the better you get at breathing, which makes sense, right? It's such a great layer to add to an already deep game, and it helps the player build a better connection with CJ. The more you shot your favorite gun, the better you got at it. It's just good game design. But let's be honest, I'm not here to play golf or arcade games within a game, Gameception. I'm here to crime, right? I want to do some fugitive shit. Pop quiz. What is Grand Theft Auto? Grand Theft Auto is the crime of stealing a car. So if you're going to name your game after stealing cars, you'd better make sure the cars in your game are detailed and diverse. Yeah, Rockstar f***ing nailed this. In GTA San Andreas, there are 212 different vehicles you can operate. all of which have their own designs, physics, and feel to set them apart. This is f***ing crazy to me. This is a PlayStation 2 game we're talking about. And the amount of cars they packed into this shit, it's mind-blowing. And honestly, it rivals current modern open world games. San Andreas was born in an era where space and memory were an issue. And somehow they were able to bring a level of detail that in 2021 is still very impressive. And honestly, I'm not sure if I've driven every car, plane, and boat that this game has to offer. But now, all this would be meaningless if the driving sucked, but I think it holds up pretty well. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, the driving in this game is better than GTA 4. Easy. Okay. Cars in Grand Theft Auto 4 felt like boats. It felt like land boats. There was no sense of traction or your car actually touching the road. I didn't find it enjoyable. Maybe you did. And if you argue that it's more realistic, then just go drive a car in real life if you're so into realism, okay? This is a video game. I want it to be kind of fun. I'm sure your Honda Prius is super fun to drive. I know my Chevy Spark is fucking awesome to drive around in. But yes, driving these cars around still feels great. Also, I noticed the game adds this parallax effect when you're going fast. It's something I never really picked up on as a kid, but it truly does make you feel like Vin Diesel, because he was in Fast and Furious. Whatever, it's a joke, it doesn't matter. And yeah, the physics are a little dated, but in my opinion, the game aged like wine, and not milk. But good driving really doesn't matter if you don't have anywhere to go, which is where this game really excels in my opinion. Let's talk about the map. I always felt like the San Andreas map was the largest game map of any open world game that I had played. Yeah, internet charts have since proved me wrong, but I mean sure, Just Cause has a massive map, but it's pretty dead. Dozens of square kilometers of empty doesn't make a map feel big. It makes it feel empty, and it makes it feel like there's too many damn trees and mountains everywhere. The reason Grand Theft Auto San Andreas feels so grand and spatial is due to its design. Having multiple cities gives the player a sense of travel and distance. There's a certain magic you feel when driving from Los Santos to San Fierro. Low-key, shit feels like a road trip. I'm not sure why Rockstar has since shied away from including multiple distinct cities in their games, but it probably has to do with modern technology and the current draw distances in games. Which makes sense. If you mod the game and turn up the draw distance, well, the illusion's a little broken, and the claustrophobia kinda sets in. I mean, look at this, it's really not as big as we think. But still, going back to the game, I had a great deal of fun just city hopping, going from one city to another. Each city had its own feel to it. Los Santos was pretty crime-ridden, but it also had its Hollywood-esque charm. San Fierro was colder, had Yakuza, and it always felt like the weather kinda sucked there, right? It was always gloomy as shit for some reason. My favorite was Las Venturas. The desert, the casinos, the hookers. It was just such a vibe. Now, Rockstar might not be able to put multiple cities into their games due to technical issues. However, certainly they could add more small towns into modern games. The cute little one-stoplight towns in San Andreas were some of my favorite locations. There were roughly 10 of them, depending on what you count. Grand Theft Auto 5 only has 3. I was genuinely bummed about this. I mean, sure, GTA 5's map is huge and much bigger than San Andreas's, but there's so much empty space. And a bunch of f***ing mountains. I don't know, sometimes they're really annoying to drive through. I can't be the only one that thinks that, there's no way. And whereas multiple cities aren't really necessary, I feel like adding more small towns is something they really could have expanded on. Because sometimes I just want to be a dirt bike hillbilly. Give me a place to do that, or I'll do it in real life. Which reminds me, do you remember all those missions with Catalina where you guys basically just robbed the entire countryside blind? Yeah, she was such a bitch, wasn't she? Don't worry, she still is, I just replayed it. But thankfully, not all the characters were assholes. I mean, yeah, there were a couple assholes, but there were also some great, memorable characters. The story as a whole was a roller coaster. The way the story leads the player around the map of San Andreas, all while developing this crazy story, it really gives you a sense of adventure. From doing mob work in Las Venturas to straight up pimping in San Fierro. It's beautiful, it's a good story. I remember one of the problems I had after beating the game was missing my friends. Not my real life friends, CJ's friends in the game. Which is sad, yeah, I realize that, but you get attached to them. I mean, after running dozens of missions with Caesar and Woozy, and of course, Marijuana Jesus, the game felt a little empty because after completion, I knew I wouldn't see them anymore. And they kind of fixed this in the newer games.
Nico, it's Roman. Let's go bowling.
Maybe I was better off missing them because, it could be a little frustrating having to hang out with them sometimes. But I would put this game's story in the same league as SpongeBob. I know, weird, right? But follow me for a second. Both SpongeBob and San Andreas are from a time before internet memes. And for some reason, our culture has looped back to them in our current meme-based internet age. I mean, I'll still see CJ and Big Smoke on Reddit all the time, along with a SpongeBob meme from an episode that released like 20 years ago. To me, this shows the game's true cultural impact. The fact that we're still making jokes relating to the game 17 years later proves that the story, the characters, and the writing were pretty damn good. But it's all not great, because I did have a few issues revisiting the game. Now, these aren't big complaints, and they certainly don't ruin the experience, but we gotta talk about them all the same. The first problem I noticed was with the control scheme. I kinda hated it. And yeah, I know this is a symptom of the time period the game released. Things like having the gas button for a car be A instead of R2 is just commonplace for games in this time period. But damn, did it take a minute to adjust to R2 being the aim button and B being the fire button? What the hell is up with that? I found this clunky, and pressing B to fire kinda takes the weight out of mowing down NPCs. Now, like I said, this isn't a big deal, but it did take some getting used to, and after I got used to it, I still didn't like it. Another issue you really can't fault them on is the graphics and the physics. Every time you hit an NPC with a car, they do the same animation. But again, this was a time before ragdoll physics, so they didn't really have a physics system built in for pedestrians like that. As for the graphics, in 2004, this shit looks sick. But in 2021, this looks like a game you'd play on your cell phone. But yeah, this game's like 3 gigabytes, so I guess I'm just kind of an asshole for nitpicking this in the first place. A few other smaller complaints. This square baseball field. No one makes a baseball field this shape. Everybody knows it's like a wedge. And as a former sports person, I do take a little offense to this. I mean, Rockstar is an English company and they play like cricket in the UK or something. I don't think they play baseball, so whatever. Good attempt. Also, I noticed the first 10 minutes of this game take place on a bike, not a motorcycle, just a regular bicycle. I feel like they did this because bikes were a new addition to the game, but still, your game is about stealing cars. Okay? It's cool you added bikes, but don't force me to ride them right away. I'll dick around with that later after I played for a while, okay? Just give me like a Lambo or a f***ing taxi cab or something at the beginning. Shit. Also, the NPCs don't always do the best job at being people. Like, why are you dressed like this if you're at the beach? What the hell what are you doing? And if you stand too close to a curb, sometimes it'll just cause a 50-car pileup. Also, that little glitch where you can't drive a car like a normal person because you get rear-ended or the guy tries to drive around you. You know, sometimes you want to put the psychotic tendencies down and you want to be a normal NPC right along with everybody else. You can't do it though. Everybody freaks the f*** out if you're trying to drive like a normal person. But it's 2004. Okay. You know, at that point, artificial intelligence was a little bit more art than intelligence. So all in all, I'm just kind of an asshole about faulting this game for these things because it's 17 years old. So, was GTA San Andreas as good as I remember? Yeah, of course it f***ing was. Playing the game again made me, well, sad. Because it's an artifact from a lost era of video games. And a part of my life that I've long since moved on from. Playing this game, so many non-game related memories came back to me. In 2013, my mom passed away from cancer. And playing this game honestly reminded me a lot of her. So many little things I forgot about that time period of my life came flooding back. I could almost still hear her yelling at me to go outside and get some fresh air and to get off that damn Nintendo. It was a PlayStation 2, Mom. Idiot. And you can't really put a price on memories like that. So yeah, nostalgia does play into my opinion of the game. And although it's not a perfect game, nothing really is. But am I damn sure that I am glad I grew up with this and not this. Now, I'm sure I've missed some of your favorite aspects of this game, and I look forward to the comments that will make me feel like a dumb idiot for not including what you're saying in this video. But if this game holds a special place in your heart, you should be thankful, because we were born too late to explore the world and too early to explore the stars. But we were born just in time to follow the damn train. Thanks for watching. Alright, that's the video. Thank you, Patreons. Love it. Here's my favorite comment from the last video, which, yeah, we're gonna do a part 2. Me saying Sea of Thieves sucked really pissed a lot of people off, and I think I need to explain myself better. If you like this video, there's probably some other shit on my channel you'd enjoy watching. Check it out. Maybe give me a subscribe. If you think I'm worth it. If you don't do it. Oh yeah, that big hot dog documentary is coming soon. I haven't forgot.
Wow, what a great video.